I mean, I understand that on a visceral level. I know that that part of me will go to any means whatsoever to take care of my wife and family. So that becomes a core value. Then there's the secondary values.
One of the interesting things about that, it's easier to change that, the importance of something like that, than whether or not I'm male or female, for example.
Exactly. And I mean, you think about someone that goes to war and gives their life to their country. They're willing to let go of their very life in order to protect whatever their image of their country is.
And then some people go and experience war and do a 180, and they come
Yes,
home and they become an anti-war activist
right.
because they went in with this one intention. It was kind of like, it's almost like they changed the pair of glasses they were wearing.
Sure.
They had this one filter that they were looking at the situation through. Then undoubtedly said there was some transformational experience or process there. And again, like kind of the fluidity of certain layers, even if they're important, even if they seem foundational,
They can
it's
change.
yeah, it's really cool that on the channel we've already done several videos talking about things like the creation of identity, or the historical self-image, that lens, that filter, of acculturation. Um, at least for me, I think it gives me a greater appreciation for how the onion is set up. I mean, it's like it's an onion that you kind of build it over the course of your life, from birth, and the bundle of energy that's all potential. You kind of put layers on your onion.
Right. And as you're doing that, there's a shifting and a changing, and the plasticity of that personality is really crucial to recognize. And what happens on one extreme, a person can rigidify around their identity. And we talk about people being obsessive compulsives, people who are very rigidified in their lives, and their attitudes and their actions and things are very prescribed. And I like to think of it as very little wiggle room. And people, if they get too extreme on that side, they become pathological. They can't even function. The other side is getting too loose, where you don't have any boundaries and you're just sort of sitting around uh, watching the world go by without any way to really connect and to be meaningful in the world. So we have this incredible dimensionality, and hopefully most of us fit in the middle somewhere. Most of us have a little bit orientation towards looseness or tightness, though, and that shifts and changes. It's like when I'm a musician and I'm playing, I want to be loose. I want to just allow that music to come through me and allow myself to just give myself to it and flow with it. But if I'm being a psychologist and having to fill out a report, I want to be clear and concise. I don't want Mr. Loosey Goosey in that environment.
Bringing it back to the idea, or the awareness that historical self-image, or layers of the onion, or whichever model that we're using, that we have all of these tools
Yeah.
at our disposal, and they're essential tools, they're useful tools, but there is also a big challenge in using the tool and not being controlled by the tool.
Right.
The addiction to the historical
Right.
self-image, starting to think that the filter is the reality, and narrowing your potential for deepening and expanding, and living in your wholeness and in the present centered state.
Yeah, and in a way, culture, depending on what culture you're in, is going to be demanding more or less that you have an identity that's solid and stable. And the fact of the matter is, every human being has all the aspects of humanity within them. And the great excitement that I feel is that the way that I grew up and the opportunities that I was given to find out about myself are just partial. I still have all these aspects of myself that I can find out about. And as a whole person, I have the whole 9 yards. And we all do. And that's part of the sharing of specieshood. Once we recognize we're all running around here playing the same species game with a little bit different tempo on it.
So just when you thought that live streams couldn't get any more exciting, here we are introducing yet another model, the model of the onion.
Yeah.
But just another way to help us kind of reflect, to stop, look, listen, reflect on all the aspects of what you said, that whole game. Because the whole game is available to us because here we are.
Did you want onions with that life?
In our wholeness.
Okay.